All right, guys. Next topic. Now, this hot topic hit my timeline this morning. These are all things that I've heard about in the last couple of hours, guys. And I was triggered. Not in a dramatic kind of triggered, in a, oop, God, this is what you saved me from kind of triggered. There's a young lady who was on social, I think it was Instagram, and she did a video. And in the video, she's a cute, plus size chocolate black girl, really smart, really industrious, has many streams of income. And I was like, oh, okay, she seems like we'd be kindred. Oh, yes, shout out to Mel. Mel, we need to make you a moderator. Hold on. Let's see if we can make Mel. I know to make somebody a moderator, I have to go to my actual YouTube page and look at the live like the rest of y'all, which is the weirdest fucking thing. Hold on. Let me mute myself. All right, so Mel, I'm going to find you in here. There you go. No, that's somebody else. And add as moderator. Mel, did it work? Yep, Melody, you're officially a moderator. Welcome, my love. For those who are new here, Mel is my sister. And I keep telling her I'm going to make her moderator, and I keep forgetting. All right, are you with Mom right now? Oh, that'd be dope if Mommy was watching. All right, so Mommy, oh, God, I would be talking about shit around marriage right when my mother's watching. Well, that's fun. Well, if my mom's not watching, then great. But if she is, then there goes the breaks. So I'm watching this lady, and I'm like, oh, she's similar to me. Like, she has the same amount of, like, jobs and, is pushing heavy weight as far as money, but has heavy responsibility. I understand that, right? The joke with me is I make a shit ton of money and I spend it all on my ecosystem, on my family, on my bills, on my business. So I'm a perfect example of it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? My financial advisor tells me all the time, Blue, you're good at generating money. You also have a large amount of responsibilities. I'm a family of 4 by myself. I have the responsibilities of a family of 4. By the way, this is not me complaining. I believe that everybody, and this is what I want you guys to listen to this real quick before we get into this video. I am a Caribbean, Afro-Latin woman with deep respect for the entire diaspora because I am Pan-African, which means if you are Black, I don't care where the ship left you off or if the ship came from where you were from. Black is family for me. And that also includes biracial people with a Black lived experience who are pro-Black in their actions and their deeds, not just in their words or their genealogy. So I'm incredibly pro-Black with the stipulation that you not be anti-Black, okay? I like niggas who like niggas, yes? And so as a pro-Black academic who is steeped in a passion for my community, tethered by actual facts and historical accuracy, anytime that I am in a space where I am thinking about community, I see community as it being a privilege that when you can generate a surplus from which your family can feed off of. To me, that is not they owe me or, oh no, I'm the terror of the family, this sucks. It is what a blessing it is to be a blessing. And you guys also know I teach an emotional intelligence class. Oh, look, the link is right here at the bottom, fall 26 at eventbrite.com. I think there's only like 15 slots left. I think I haven't looked in a while. But I teach an emotional intelligence class. What we say is never set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, right? It's a very popular saying. So the fact that I can give to my friends and family and offer them opportunities and let it be theirs, and they don't owe me anything other than basic respect and reciprocity and compassion and community, right? Just talk to me nice. That's all. The thing that you would do for a stranger. When it comes to conversation around Black women and how we provide for those we love, I am always delicate not to speak about it as if it is a burden. Because we are all here because a Black woman decided to take us on in some way. Whether it's the mama that birthed you, the homegirl who let you cry in her bosom, the teacher that believed in you, the random Black woman who said, baby, you look good on a day where you felt like shit. And we know the approval of Black women feels different. Even white women say that shit, right? Black women are the ones who naturally uplift our ecosystems from the bottom, unfortunately, right? And so because I see it as a privilege to be operating at my full capacity and to be healthy enough to take care of myself and those that I care about, when I watch anything around a woman who is buckling under the weight of that, I always want to speak to her valid pain while also not demonizing the role itself. Does that make sense, guys? Like, when I say I'm the Terry of the family, I don't think there's anything wrong with being the Terry of the family as a position. I think there's something wrong with being the Terry of the family in how it's executed. If they see you as a punching bag or a purse or a resource, and they forget to humanize you and they ask things of you that they wouldn't ask of themselves. And let me tell you right now, I am quick to course correct when anybody in my life forgets that I'm human. Oh, baby, no, you couldn't ask me that. I can't ask you either. Like, let's not do that. I'm quick to remind you, we're still both people, though, right? The beautiful thing about being an ego death coach is my ego is never big enough where I forget my own humanity. And so I'm watching this young lady and I'm thinking, oh, we have a lot in common. Instant follow. And then I start watching her videos more. I'm like, wait, bitch, you did what now? So that's the preface. That's the disclaimer. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to head up my client. There's no way I'm going to be on time. Client, again, if you're watching, just hit me up and tell me you don't mind. Because, okay, I'm about to email my client while we watch this video.
Happened to the women who proposed to their husband.
First of all, the girl that I thought I had something in common with suddenly came out with a video talking about, I proposed to my husband. Immediately lost me. Oh, you kind of live this on members only. I'm so happy for you. We are having a members job. We're trying to get to 2,222 members. Those are my angel numbers. And we're going to have a live event to celebrate that. It's not going to be no internet shit. But when she said, wait a minute, what you mean you proposed to your husband? I immediately said, oh, baby, yeah, no, you got me fucked up. Similarities end right here. We're doing a live about this. Because ain't no fucking way you had me thinking we was kindred. And what's this? I pray, I beg, Sky Daddy, don't ever, may this type of love never find me. May this type of friendship never find me. I don't even want to be the friend that you asking for advice about proposing to your nigga. I don't care if you think it's problematic. I've done plenty of videos about why I don't believe in this. I don't have time to get into it again, but it's a big note for me, dog. But let's continue about how somebody said the blood of Jesus. I am going to put that on the shirt. We're working on the line. If anybody steals it, you know who they got it from. I like niggas who like niggas. Although that can also be on sale for Pride Month. Be who you are. Ooh, double dipping. I love that y'all are part of the team. Okay, so this girl done went around. I rebuke it. My blood went cold. And I'm telling y'all, Nina Parker unintentionally having me looking at Garrett Morris's dick was already like, ooh, this is about to be a weird morning. By the time the lady got thrown off the cliff, I said, now I might need to go live as an emotional support for me, because what the fuck? But now, by the time I got to the lady on the knee, I said, okay, we have to go live because now I feel away. So y'all, we about to watch how this lady done fucked around and got on a knee. For those who are new here, because I'm probably going to clip this segment. This segment is about what happens when a Black woman is so progressive. I'm a moderate. I'm a hybrid. I'm half progressive, half not. Everything my grandma told me was bullshit. Okay, I'm half and half. Them house dresses they be pulling niggas in them house dresses, yes? So as someone who's a hybrid of old and new, because I feel like there's great things in the old and there's great things in the new and there's bullshit on both, I just pick the ones that make sense and make it into a nice little pile, yes? You will never catch me in this level of progressive. So my homegirl here thought that because she was one of us and she was progressive and she's the Terry of her family, that she could go and ask this nigga to marry her. And now she's coming back on the other side of that to confess what happened. Y'all ready to watch? Are y'all good? I feel like I'm giving y'all a second to get a drink. Y'all might want to make you some eggnog coffee to get through this one. All right, let's watch what happens when a Black woman who is good at making money for herself and can provide for herself and have a surplus and could have gotten a dog and just dated and found a nice nigga decides to get on bended knee instead.
Well, I'm one of them. Welcome to episode 1 of Rebuilding My Life Without Burnout After Marriage. Now, I never got down on one knee with a ring, but I did text him and asked him to marry me.
Oh my God, she proposed via text. Okay. I'm so sorry. I think this is activating my ADHD. I might need to calm down and smoke through this. Okay. Y'all, No, it's not a joke. You know, I kept looking. It's not a joke. It's a 6-part series. Somebody said I'm breathing heavy. I can't. So she texted this man. Y'all know that I won't even ask a man out on a date because in my mind, I am a flirtatious, sex positive, big titty bitch with a pretty smile. If I'm smiling in your face and smelling good and batting my eyelashes and telling you, oh wow, you so funny, haha, and you don't ask me out, nigga, you don't want me bad enough. I've done everything as a divine feminine to tell you the door is open. Cue the Bruno Mars, yes? So if I leave the door open and you don't walk through it, then we don't have anything else to talk about. What you mean you tested this nigga? Okay, let me stop. Sorry. Let me not judge. I'm not judging. I'm perceiving. Blue. This is not your lived experience. This is her lived experience. Be open to seeing it through her eyes. Sorry, guys. This is how I stop myself from letting the Virgo inside of me say, bitch, what the fuck? So I feel like my Virgo is loud today for some reason. Virgo powers tone down. We're gonna actually, I don't believe the woman is the prize. I believe the relationship is the prize. Controversial. I know this is where me being progressive comes back. I'm old school to a point. I believe the relationship is a prize. I believe the win is what we build together, not each other. Because if one person's a prize and the other person is what? The person trying to get a prize. I don't want to be an acquisition. I want to be a partner. I want to be someone who is held sacred. I want to be someone who is poured into. I want to be somebody who is supported, but also allowed to give support back because a lot of men only know how to give and not receive. And that also creates disdain, right? Because there are so many men who will pour into me, but the minute I try to be a part of their lives, they're standoffish because they don't want to open up. That sucks. So I don't actually believe the woman is the prize. I believe the healthy relationship that we co-create together is the prize. Just want to throw that out there. All right, but let's let this lady, y'all saw me talk me down from saying, bitch, what the fuck was you doing? We're going to let this young woman share her narrative with us with an open mind. Okay? Do we all agree? Wait, not just that I'm judging. Y'all, do we all agree? We're gonna have an open mind, okay? Okay. We agree.
7 days later, we were in Vegas.
Wait, she texted him, and then a week later, he met her in Vegas. Bitch, okay. I'm being tested. I'm being tested live on camera. Y'all, this is my first time watching this. I saw the premise and immediately shut down. So we're experiencing this together.
What I didn't know at the time was that I was walking straight into the most burnt out season of my life as the
Well, you the mama and the daddy. Of course you burnt out. Sorry.
Head of household. But before you run to the comments with red flags, hear me out. I was grieving the loss of my mom, 1 month pregnant with my second child, and in love. At the time, I was making...
Wait. Hold on. I'm definitely texting my client after this. What the fuck? Sorry, seeds. You knew this man. I thought she had mentioned that she had known this man for a couple of months. This man that you've known for a couple of months gets you pregnant. And your mother has just passed away, which, you already know how I'm a mama's girl, so that immediately strikes a chord in my heart. So you're vulnerable. Y'all remember how the whole icky thing happened because I was vulnerable because my mother had spent 2 years in the hospital, was finally stabilized, and the first person I tried to entertain romantically ended up playing in my face. I understand what it's like to date after a fresh wound and how vulnerable that makes you. But then the man put a baby in you, and your response was to text him, will you marry me? Not judging, just perceiving. Okay, let's continue.
More in a quarter than most make in a year. So I was the provider by a landslide.
Wait, she said she makes more in a quarter than most make in a year. I think I saw 48,000 on that screen. Okay.
Kids under 5, long work days, stress, weight gain, depression, completely burned out. I was building a successful business while quietly falling apart. I was fed up and I took a sabbatical, and with the anticipated support of my husband and
Wait, baby, if you took a sabbatical, you the breadwinner. How you taking a sabbatical? What? Wait. I'm the breadwinner of my household. If I take a sabbatical, then who gonna pay for the...
potentially reduce my income to about $10,000 a month so I could recover. The expenses of a family of 4 exceeded my adjusted income after using my savings.
$10,000 a month for a family of 4 where you're the breadwinner? Well, where do you live? In the South, that could work. In the South, is this pre or post tax? Because $10,000 after taxes is only about $7K. $7K in LA for a family of 4, where it sounds like you might be the breadwinner. You could make it work if you have a savings account. You could totally make it work. It's just that you'd be living lean, and you definitely wouldn't be living at the level that you were living when you were making 48K. So, okay, so far she's saying that this nigga gets me pregnant while I'm mourning my mother. I proposed to him via text. He said, bet I'll meet you in Vegas in a week. So romantic. And I have his baby, but then I'm burnt out from running all these businesses while having his baby. And then I decided to go on a sabbatical, and I'm only working one job now where I'm making 10K, but that 10K is supposed to take care of the 4 of us. Wait, 4? Where'd the 4th person come from? Hold on. Okay, let's let this play.
Felt the stress and depression creep back. And after a few failed attempts, I saw a divorce after deciding I never want to be the head of a man's household again.
Oh, she divorced him. Now, hold on. I'm confused as well. Maybe she's gonna, you know what? Maybe she's teasing us because this is all verticals. You know, verticals are short form. On the vertical of like TikTok or Instagram. Maybe she's teasing us, and it's going to be a part 2.
So here I am rebuilding my finances back to $50,000 a month from the ground up.
$50,000 a month. Okay, yeah, you were the breadwinner, baby. $50K a month. You was definitely the breadwinner. That's just what it is.
But this time, I'm doing it differently. No hustle culture, no burnout. Just creating an organized and financially secure life for me and my kids.
Wait, kids. Mbako one. Kids. He had just got you pregnant when you proposed. Wait, he got you pregnant a second time? Somebody said, I'm proud of her, I think. Yeah, I'm confusion. I keep on going, yeah. You know that kombucha meme of the lady going ill and then, baby, you kombucha. Are we rooting for you or not? Where did the second baby come from? You know what? I'm going to let the thing play. Because how do you go from being pregnant with one child and now it's a family of 4?
Follow along for episode 2.
I averaged $50,000 a month before I burned out, and here's how. Welcome to episode 2 of Rebuilding My Finances After Marriage. I'm Sydney, 36, mom of 2, and I'm a former tech founder.
No, them kids are small. I don't think she already had a kid. For those that saying they think she already had a kid, them babies are tiny. They look like they came out one after the other, unless she had just been pregnant by a whole other nigga, and I think she would have mentioned that. Okay, so she's only 36. Baby, you've lived a life.
Independent government contractor and entrepreneur. That was a mouthful, right? I sold source codes and white label digital products on marketplaces that already had traffic. I also was a fractional CTO for startups, and I helped them plan their B2B and exit strategy. This was the most burnt out project I had going on because I work with technical teams across the world, so a lot of different time zones. In 2023, I sold my AI startup to the platform that I built my software on, and I licensed it for $20,000 a month. This has since been expired. I get paid $7,500 a month as a government contractor in a paid fellowship where I teach small businesses how to fundraise capital. I also am a contractor for various organizations who offer technical assistance. This brings in an average about $10,000 a month, but I work across multiple organizations to make that total. As I rebuild my finances to $50,000 a month again, there's a few things I would do differently.
So we do have this in common where she's making a lot of money, but it's because she has several streams of income. As somebody who has 5 streams of income, those numbers, I will say this, as a writer and a teacher, I probably work as much as she does, but more of my work is alone, where I'm doing curriculum development, or I'm prepping teaching tools, or I'm creating or editing. So it sounds like she and I have similar work schedules. It's just that I don't work with as many people as she does. I couldn't do it. The work doesn't ever overstimulate me. It's the people. So a lot of neurodivergent girlies, will find themselves having to craft careers for themselves where they can soothe in peace. Me being an educator slash content creator slash shop owner is contingent on the fact that these are all jobs where I can work for hours and do a shit ton of work, but there's limited access to who can actually access me or who can like deregulate my day. It sounds like she's working with a lot of people, but I'm hoping because she's a mother that she works with people in a way where it's only in like finite office hours. But no, those numbers are actually a little bit lower than I thought. Those numbers are a little bit lower than I thought because I think it's because I'm coming from the entertainment world and she's coming from the tech world. And both of those worlds tend to either pay you really high or surprisingly low. There's rarely any in between.
Time, follow for episode 3.
I think this is a very valid question. Why did I ask him to marry me instead of just waiting for him to ask?
Yeah.
And outside of being overwhelmed by this emotion of wanting to have a marriage, because everything I was hormonal, pregnant, grieving, all those things, wanted that bond. I think I felt...
By the way, being hormonal, pregnant, and grieving is enough of an answer. This is why I'm happy I've stopped myself from judging her. If I had just lost my mother and in one swoop had met a nice man and was about to become a mother without my mother around, I might end up doing some shit that I would look back and like, what the fuck was that? So I'm actually going to give her a shit ton of grace because that is actually incredibly significant.
That if I was his wife, he would show up bigger. He would work harder. I thought that would push him to move differently than how you move if I'm just your girlfriend.
Wait, the nigga was lazy and you thought asking him to marry you via text was going to make him show up more? Okay, you lost me again. Still have compassion, but that logic, baby, no.
And also, I mean, there's obviously things he's telling me, right? And I just thought, if we made this decision together, because I didn't really ask him, like, will you marry me? Like a proposal. I said, hey, let's get married. Let's consider marriage. And when some people say, yeah, let's do that. And I just thought he would show up differently as a husband. Yes, I proposed to my husband, bought his ring, bought his suit, paid for my dress, paid for my wedding ring, and then...
Wait. Baby, the more you... Oh, this is why being a girl's girl be so tricky for me. Because, baby, I'm going to say something that's not going to sound like I'm a girl's girl. So, somebody said we're on a seesaw. You bought the ring and the suit? You didn't just propose to him. You then mothered him. He couldn't buy his own suit? For those who say Blue Salute, as big as your personality is, why don't you ask a man out? Now you see the answer. Every single time in life that I have asked a man out on a date, even if he said yes and we ended up dating, he ends up being this man. The man who's like, oh, she got it though. Yeah, I would normally do it for another woman, but Blue got it. I would normally put in effort, but Blue got it. Blue always got it. I'm so proud of my baby. Your baby is tired. Blue don't always got it. The reason why I know that my husband will not be a man that I have to go and get is because I want somebody who wants me bad enough to come and get me, not because of my ego needs that, but because I need to know that you have it in you so that when I don't have it, you have it. Right? Little things reveal big things. And someone who does not care enough is not intentional enough as a man who wants to be chivalrous, because chivalry is a man-made construct steeped in a little bit of, palatable misogyny, right? If you're old school enough to be chivalrous and open my doors, but you're not old school enough to ask me on a date, you're full of shit. Which one is it? Which one is it? Are you chivalrous and you want to act like you're a good dude and open my doors and be a ladies' man in that kind of way? Sure, those kind of niggas ask bitches out on dates, but you can't be someone who's chivalrous when there's no kind of risk. But the minute you actually have to man up, not my language, just what y'all be saying, suddenly now you want to be progressive in that kind of way. I'm a hybrid, but I'm remiss about people who are only hybrids when it's time to be responsible. Being a hybrid of old school and new school is not an excuse to being a coward, right? It's not an excuse to have cherry-picked logic that is in conflict with each other. So the next time somebody says, Blue, why don't you believe in women asking out men? I didn't say I don't believe in women asking out men. I don't believe in me asking out men. Y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want, respectfully.
Girl, he asked me for a divorce. Welcome to episode 3 of Rebuilding My Finances Without the Burnout After Marriage.
Wait, he asked for the divorce? You proposed to this man, paid for the tux, paid for the wig, not the wig, paid for the haircut, paid for everything, and he divorced you. Like, he said I could do better. Oh, baby. Okay. Somebody said, Blue, I don't want to distract, but where did you get the hair, please? I didn't get the hair. These are faux wavy goddess locks, handmade by Ronnie, the same man who does whose hair does Ronnie do? Zoe Kravitz, Meg Thee Stallion, Raven Simone. He did Raven Simone's hair recently. So the same guy who did Raven Simone's hair did my hair. So this is not some hair that I bought. Ronnie made this for me based on my last sewing. I sent him a picture of me with ginger hair and said, I want a wavy version of locks that looks like that because I'm about to go in the shop and I can't get my hair done no more. Because, by the way, guys, the minute you see me in locks, you know the shop's about to get, like, we're about to open the shop back up. This is I work 16 hours a week. I don't have time to go to the hairdresser hairstyle. But yeah. Okay, so he asked for the divorce. Interesting.
Now, he didn't verbally say that, but his actions did. I spent years trying to hold together a life I was financing almost entirely by myself. Okay. I was earning around $50,000 a month from home while raising my babies. He'd wake me up in the night to...
Y'all, those kids were born back to back. Y'all keep on saying that she was pregnant by somebody else, but them kids... I'm from Boston. I know Irish twins when I see them. Those might both be his kids. Them babies look like one was born 6 months after the other child. I know that's not how math works, but still.
Put the baby back to sleep. I would inherit my mother's car after she passed, and I let him drive it, and he wrecked it.
You let him drive your dead mother's car? I'm not freaking out because her husband's driving a car that's hers. I'm freaking out because what did this man do then? If you are making $50K a year, working from home, raising the kids, and the car you got from your mother passing away, he's driving.
An increase in insurance that I was paying for. Then came the house. He wanted a house for our family, so I used my cash.
Wait, he wanted a house, so you use your cash. Pronouns matter. Happy Pride Month. Pronouns matter. You're right. She's grieving. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God, I'm so triggered by this. By the way, this is my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare is not being a happy, thriving single person running a successful business and hasn't found her partner yet. My worst case scenario is this. This is my worst nightmare on camera, so excuse me if I am triggered.
Credit, my income, and I bought one. But maintaining it became my responsibility too. The money, the repairs, the mental load, everything kept landing on my plate. So I ended a few of my contracts, reduced my income to $10,000, and I took a sabbatical. And that's when I learned that the burnout I was feeling wasn't about working too much, especially since I loved what I was doing. But it was about having a lifestyle that I didn't have the ability to rest or take a break from. So when people ask me why I decided to rebuild my finances after divorce or why I need to, it's not because I lost my husband or the divorce itself. It's because I wanted to take time to prioritize my mental and physical health. And when I woke up from that sabbatical, I decided that I only want to be responsible for me and my kids. Follow for episode 4. I asked my husband to marry me, and everybody keeps asking.
What was the reason? I had a reason. What was the reason?
Okay, so this is episode 4. But you guys, this is a mini series. It's only 6 episodes. So she's answering the question of what's the reason, although I feel like she already answered it because it was grief. But let's hear what else she has to say.
I had a reason. What was the reason?
Welcome to episode 4, part 1 of Rebuilding My Finances After Marriage Without the Burnout. Before marriage, I was obsessed with building my business. I had raised nearly $500,000 for my business through grants and pitch competitions.
Bitch, you make $50K a month and you raise $500,000 to get your business started up. Why are you with a man who looks slightly unhoused, who just keeps on putting babies in you? Oh, should I just describe the last man I was in love with? Okay. I'm gonna shut up. My startup was generating around $20,000 a month. I had very little debt at the time. Then in 2021, I swiped right on Bumble. We dated, we traveled. 3 months. Oh, so she made $500,000 starting off her business, and then was generating about $20K a month. That's a decent start. That means that she probably didn't have any employees because you can't really pay anybody else at that point. And she says the business is doing well, and then one day she's bored and goes on Bumble. And that's when she meets this man. Let's take a closer look at this man. Okay, I want to get a good look at him.
Months later, we found out we were having a baby. That same weekend, my apartment caught fire.
Okay, so she's dating this nigga off of Bumble. This is me trying to show some empathy. She's dating this man off of Bumble, and her apartment catches on fire, which makes sense if you've been dating somebody for a couple of months and your apartment catches on fire. I'm gonna go stay with my man. I mean, that so far this part makes sense, but how did we get to the wedding?
Asked me to move in. For 6 months, he paid every bill, took care of the home, and
for 6 months, he paid every bill, took care of the home. Okay. It's giving bait and switch, but okay.
Asked me for nothing. Eventually, I returned to Michigan. He stayed in Illinois. Financially, life was good. He had his own, I had mine, and now we had a baby.
So he did get her pregnant, okay.
Maternity leave came, I went back to stay with him. He upgraded to a bigger place for us. Again, he handled everything. And if the story ended there, he would have been the head of household, and I'd probably be a kept woman.
Right.
But my business was taking off. I had landed a 6-figure investment from Google. And because of me being able to pitch my company for funding, for contracts, and for partnerships, business was growing. I wanted to get back full time into building my business, so I offered him to retire. He quit his job, moved out his place.
Oh! She was making so much money. Well, 50K, because 50K is significant if you're thinking about one person. 50K if you're thinking about 4 people and overhead expenses and taxes. I need you guys to understand that money gross and money net are not the same thing. They're not even friends. What I make gross and what I make net don't even know each other. They're in different tax brackets. She was grossing 50K a month. Oh my God, this is making my head hurt. And said to herself, you know what? I'm going to tell my nigga to retire even though he's able-bodied. She retired him. Someone said, you can end it here. What the fuck? Okay, so one could argue if a man retires a woman, we don't say anything about it. So what's wrong with a woman retiring a man? I can hear my progressive sister saying that. Here's the thing. I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. I wouldn't do it for 50K. For 50K a month, I, as a business person, understand that all it takes is one bad summer and we can't afford for him to be retired. So for me, I hear knocking. Oh, the construction workers are working downstairs, but they're knocking lightly because they can tell I'm live streaming. How sweet. I'm gonna text them when I'm done. For me, I'm always thinking about, like, am I good for an emergency? Right? If I don't have a year of living expenses and savings and don't have a backup fund to keep my business afloat for 3 months, we're not talking about shit. Okay? So for me, the idea of retiring a grown man when you're only 36, I'd be like, babe, now that I'm doing well, let's work on a retirement plan for both of us to retire early. But I'm not retiring you in my mid-30s. When I just started making a coin and you don't put 2 babies in me because you keep on shooting up the club. I think we're all progressive and draw a line at this, but let's continue.
Moved in with me and became a stay-at-home dad. I was out building my dreams for her.
By the way, the whole stay-at-home dad thing, I don't have a problem with stay-at-home dads. I think there are a lot of men, and there's even been some men that I've dated. I'm like, oh, he could be a good father, where I still think that I would still want my man to have something that he's passionate about outside of just our children. In the same way that if I was a man with a wife, I'd want my wife to have something that she's passionate about outside of the kids. So my issue isn't with him being a stay-at-home dad. Actually, that's actually not my issue, right? Because I feel like whoever I end up with, if I ever had a child or even adopted a child, he would have to be an active parent because mama works. I think it's more so taking away all of his financial incentive. That's what I have an issue with. Like, I would still say, you know what? I'll do 60, you do 40, and we both, hire a nanny, but you might be with the kids more than me because I have to travel more, or I have to be with the kids more than you because you travel more. There was a way to do it without completely absolving him of being an adult.
Our family. However, being a stay-at-home dad wasn't his, even with a nanny. I felt he needed reassurance that we were a team in this.
Wait, they had a nanny? So wait, hold on. You retired this nigga and got him a nanny? Oh no, he definitely got her pregnant on purpose. For those who know the story that I went viral for telling, I was warned that man, had I actually slept with him and had low self-esteem, would have eventually got me pregnant to keep me. I've had several men in my life that I knew wanted to impregnate me, keep me around. I'm at the age now where I do want babies, but I wouldn't be with somebody just because I had a kid with them. I'd be with them because I want to be with them. So, this is trapment. She was trapped. So let me get this straight. She retired him, bought him a house, got him a nanny, even though his job is to be a stay-at-home dad. And he still needed reassurance that she loved him. Sir, if you don't go suck your own dick at this point, this is ridiculous.
Sacrifices we were making, and that marriage would give him motivation and encouragement now that he had the freedom to make his own lane with his passions to support us as well within our new lifestyle. And then I began earning around $50,000 a month, and that's when the red flags started showing up. Stick around for episode 5, part 2. I retired my boyfriend, proposed, married him, and then I got...
That was not a good shot of him. Wait a minute. Baby, did you pick that video on purpose?
To make his own lane with his passions to support us as well within our new lifestyle. And then I began earning around $50,000 a month, and that's when the red flags started showing up. Stick around for episode 5, part 2. I retired my boyfriend.
This the nigga that she retired and got a nanny for? And bought a house for? Yes, I did. I did. Okay. I'm gonna let this play so I can get back.
And proposed, married him, and then I got pregnant again. Welcome back to episode.
So she's admitting she got pregnant a second time with him. Okay, so that's where the family four comes from. So she proposed to him because he knocked her up. He put another baby in her, and she bought him a house. I'm starting to see that this nigga had incentive. Somebody said, "Don't make me throw up." You guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think there was a filter on his picture, and he still looked like that. Look, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I tell you guys all the time, if I like my nigga, I don't care if y'all think he's attractive. I'm one of those. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about who I choose. So if she like it, I love it. Yes. It's just I might be shallow because I've done some strange big mama, I want to buy you a short set activities for a nigga who got me dickmatized, but they don't ever look like that. I be doing dumb shit for pretty niggas. So I can't relate to this specifically, but I get it.
Part 2 of rebuilding my finances without the burnout after marriage. A month after we got married, I was pregnant with our second child. My husband wanted to go back.
So they're both his kids. They're both his kids. He got her pregnant. She had his baby. And then she got pregnant by him again. And then she decided, let's do a family where I'm the man and you're the... Okay.
Back to work, but jobs were limited where we lived after the pandemic. So when he finally got an opportunity in Illinois, we packed up and moved.
Oh, he got a job. Okay, guys. Okay, no, this is redeeming. So she finally said, hey, nigga, you need to get a job. And so he finally got a job. What job is it?
He landed a retail manager job. Pay wasn't enough, but he...
Wait, retail manager? I'm not judging. I'm letting my thoughts flow through me. Okay. So he got a retail manager job.
He was happy, and thankfully, then I was making close to $50,000 a month. I had a licensing deal for my AI software worth $20,000 a month. Worked as a fractional CTO for growing startups that was about $8,000, and landed a government contract that only 75 people out of 14,000 were selected. I did all this from home, and I was with a 1-year-old and a newborn. And because I didn't work the traditional 9 to 5, I was expected to still get up with the kids every night. I would have to wait.
Wait. But he's a stay-at-home dad, so why is he expecting you to wake up at 5 a.m. to take care of the kids? Somebody says one of those funny filters. Baby, we saw him without the filter. It wasn't that much of a joke. He still looked like that. But he got a retail job while you're running a conglomerate, and he still expected you to wake up at 5 a.m. to take care of the kids because your office was at the house and he had to go to the Walmart to hit the time clock. Okay.
45 minutes when he'd get home for his bathroom break before I could even go take my own shower. Post shower.
Let's play that back. Let's play this entire thing back because I must be misunderstanding this entire premise.
Home dad wasn't his, even with a nanny.
No,
I felt he needed reassurance that we were a team and the sacrifices we were making, and that marriage would give him motivation and encouragement now that he had the freedom to make his own lane with his passions to support us as well within our new lifestyle. And then I began earning around $50,000 a month, and that's when the red flags started showing up. Stick around for episode 5, part 2. I retired my boyfriend, proposed, married him, and then I got pregnant again. Welcome back to episode 5, part 2 of rebuilding my finances without the burnout after marriage.
Sorry, I feel like I'm about to get frown lines from scowling at this video. We're going to watch part 5 and 6 with as much silence as possible because I have to be missing something. So this is part 5 of 6.
A month after we got married, I was pregnant with our second child. My husband wanted to go back to work, but jobs were limited where we lived after the pandemic. So when he finally got an opportunity in Illinois, we packed up and moved. He landed a retail.
You moved for a retail. So sorry, I said I wasn't going to interrupt that line. You moved for a retail job? If I'm making $50K a month and you got a job working at retail, why are we moving for a retail job? This is not even about gender. If my nigga was making $50K from home and I get offered a job as a manager at Piggly Wiggly, let's say I'm making $20 an hour. I'm not moving my entire family for $20 an hour when my man is making $50K a month. I think she did that because she wanted him to feel supported. She said earlier, in I think part 4, that even though she was paying all the bills, retired him, bought him a house, got him a nanny, he never felt like he had his own thing going on. I think her deciding to move for his retail job was her misguided attempt to, somebody said it's a love spell. Y'all saying it's voodoo. You know what? I'm remiss to throw that out casually, but this is one time where wait, somebody said, how did her apartment catch on fire? Y'all think he set the apartment on fire so she would move in with him? We all watch too much Dateline. Oh, but yeah. Okay. How did her apartment just magically catch on fire and now she got to move in with him? Okay, y'all. Okay. We all clearly have been through some trauma. Okay, I'm laughing because this is my literal worst nightmare.
Manager job, pay wasn't enough, but he was happy, and thankfully then
it wasn't enough. Basically, he's making $16 an hour, but he was happy. By the way, there's nothing wrong with making $16 an hour. I'm not laughing at $16 an hour. I'm laughing at this exact circumstance and how things are being prioritized based on his ego, not on just like, regular financial solvency or partnership. So he's making barely any money, but he feels good. So let's move to a whole different state. Got it.
I was making close to $50,000 a month. I had a licensing deal for my AI software worth $20,000 a month. Worked as a fractional CTO for growing startups that was about $8,000, and landed a government contract that only 75 people out of 14,000 were selected. I did all this from home, and I was with a 1-year-old and a newborn. And because I didn't work the traditional 9 to 5.
A 1-year-old and a newborn. So we're right. She did have Irish twins.
5, I was expected to still get up with the kids every night. I would have to wait 45 minutes when he'd get home for his bathroom break before I could even go take my own shower. Postpartum depression and exhaustion was kicking my ass. Clients and contractors emailing me at 6 a.m. for a response to an email they sent less than 24 hours ago. With my son on my lap and my newborn on my tit every other hour. I love motherhood, but I was hating how I wasn't able to show up as my best to my clients and contracted developers who expected the same excellence I had before I became a mom. Working to keep my kids and husband comfortable without any relief, gratitude, or even a date night but once every 4 months was making me unhappy and uncomfortable.
Y'all, she's saying 50,000 because she missed that money. She missed it. She's talking about that money more than she's talking about that nigga. She missed the 50K.
Once I bought a house, the responsibilities on my plate and the expenses just continue to pile up. For me, even though I was the main provider, I desired my husband's protection over my finances and the investments I made.
The idea of buying a house alone while having a husband is insane to me. The idea that I have a husband, but I'm buying a house alone is wild to me. Somebody said, see, I am too Haitian princess for this. Maybe it's a cultural thing. No, because our African-American friends and our Jamaican friends and even our white friends in here are like, bitch, what the fuck? This is my worst nightmare. What is this young lady's name? I want to send her some love. Maybe we'll have her come on. You know what? I don't do this often, like ever. I think Dominique Morgan might be the only person I just randomly wanted to interview after doing a video on them. But, oh, Nicole Bahari, I love her. Oh, she's so funny. Sorry, not me. Sorry. Great actress. Same, sis. I'm gonna hit this lady up. I think her name is Sydney. Sydney, I'm gonna find you. Sydney, no. Sydney, I feel like you're telling this story because you want followers, yeah? I'm gonna help you out. I don't even have a lot of followers, but the Blue Crew is very, very engaged and loyal and smart and kind and important. You was smart, you was kind. Sydney, I might want to have you on because what the fuck? I need to talk. I need you to explain to me, Sydney. I'm calling you in. I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you in. What the fuck? That's my first question when you come on.
But because I didn't work traditional 9 to 5 and had the disposable income, that wasn't a consideration for me. Reducing my income to $10,000 a month with my most minimal contract so I can rest, reflect, have therapy, and wean off the Zoloft was what I needed.
So now I get it. The 50K was when he was at the height of his deadbeat. And she decided she did a sabbatical and brought it back down to 10K, which means she was only doing one of her gigs. I think one of her gigs paid 10K. And decided to start over because she was burnt out and she physically was probably worried about her health. She was on Zoloft. Got it. As someone who's worked, minus the man and the babies, as somebody who's worked a lot, made a shit ton of money, 5 figures a month, and then got sick and went to the ER and was like, oh, yeah, this money that doesn't mean shit if I die. I know what it's like to be like, oh, my health actually means more than all of this because if I die, none of this is worth it. I get that. And I can't even imagine the pressure of that when you have children, right? I'm thinking about my own mortality. I can't imagine thinking about my mortality in relation to being somebody's mother and then having to be worried that they're not going to have a mom. So my heart actually still goes out to her. Sydney, is this the part where you tell us how you got rid of him?
However, I love working. I love working with businesses and women who want to pursue their passions and be paid well for it. So as I rebuild my finances back to where they were, I'm doing it differently this time. More boundaries, more support, less burnout, because success means very little if you're too exhausted to enjoy it. I see a lot of comments and questions about hiring help. Although in a minute and 30 seconds, I'm trying to give you as much detail as possible in these reels, but I had a nanny when my son was young. I then had a live-in nanny when I had 2 kids, a houseman.
Yes, you did have a live-in nanny. That's called your husband when he's been retired so he could be a momager. Yes, you did. I retired you so that you could be the live-in nanny and husband and father. You're already their father. But now I'm paying you through what I'm getting so that you can, okay, no, I'm sorry. This is making me itchy because this is not even about gender and men versus women being the breadwinner. He's just a sucky partner. This is not even about gender anymore for me. He's a horrible partner.
manager. I have and still have lawn services that come weekly, but it's like grass cutting. They don't do no hard landscaping. Then I use Home Aglow, which is a subscription house cleaning services. They come by
You're right. She does look like Steph Co when she doesn't have the filter on. You're actually correct.
weekly. You know, I do have the team and people to help. I don't think this excuse why two adults in the household can't manage some of those things.
I'm sorry, if I hire a whole team and nigga, you ain't got a job because I retired you and you still think that I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. Oh yeah, no. Mm-mm. 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 At that point, I'm gonna hit up the group chat myself and tell all your friends that I'm the villain. I'm gonna FaceTime all your friends so that you ain't gotta tell them what I'm about to do to you. Because ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way.
But on top of that, I don't enjoy managing people. So I think it's always been off and on and how they fluctuated through my life because I am just not a manager of people. When I even do contract work, I try to do subcontracting. I don't like to manage people. All my businesses, I could do all the roles myself.
Also, she is like me where she's doing all these jobs, but she's mostly in a silo and people have limited access to her. Okay, so we are kindred in that respect. She's me if I didn't know how to use birth control, child. This is a lot.
If I need help, I would outsource, but truly, I don't like to manage other people. And when I had a team like landscape house cleaners and house managers still getting a list of what I want to meal prep so that they can buy the groceries, still giving support for what needs to be clean, the details need to be clean. We're going to do a deep.
That was his job, though. You not being able to manage people is irrelevant if you've now retired your husband so that he can manage your house. He's a business manager. Being a housewife, you're a business manager of the business of the family. Those are all his roles. Okay, you could tell that she's not used to being able to depend on men, so her brain naturally goes to not even seeing them as something to be supported by. Because the way she's talking, as if he was not a factor, that tells me a lot about their marriage.
Cleaner, like cleaner, standard clean. Then I have to pre-clean. Y'all know what I mean. Before the cleaners come, it's like having to manage projects on top of managing my kids, managing my household, managing my work, managing my husband, whatever else I had to do. It still felt exhausting and unenjoyable for me. And I seemed like it was adding more on my plate because people needed to hear from me what you need from me so they could show up and do what they needed to do. It helped in labor, but the mental exhaustion never went away.
My husband was not the first man I financially supported.
Oh, okay, y'all. I'm actually happy I have to go soon and talk to my client because now I might need a client call. The fuck is this? Sydney, I fear that, mind you, this video is only 15 minutes long. I think we've been covering it for half an hour now because the amount of cognitive dissonance, the way my spirit is repelling, like just repulsed by everything about this. But again, it's not even judgment towards her. I feel like I'm watching a horror film. And you know what's so funny? Just this morning, I almost hit up somebody that I didn't have no business hitting up. You know, it's the summer. You feel like doing risky shit during the summer. I almost sent a risky text this morning, and then God sent me this instead. Sky Daddy, I will never doubt you again. Okay, let's received. You know when you know sometimes at night you get a little lonely. You're like, let me just send a little text and just let's see if he still thinks I'm cute. This. No. Being single is better than this. So yeah, I think this one is for me. I needed this reminder.
Welcome back to episode 6 of Rebuilding My Finances Without the Burnout After Marriage. If you follow me, know me, you know my work ethic is unmatched. One thing I know how to do is make money. Been doing so.
If she says 50K one more time, Sydney, I need you to I know this is a series. And so you have to have a through line in every video. I'm explaining content, speak to people. When people have a series, or this is a 6-part series, you do have to have certain things that you say repetitively in the series to introduce it to new folks and reintroduce it to people who are returning. I get it. I also am tired of hearing 50K because we're watching this back to back. So this is not even a slight to her. It's just, I'm echoing your sentiments. Yeah. Somebody said, I'm too financially care for a man, and he is our 6-year-old. So, oh, wow.
Since I was selling rewritable mixed CDs in school. People in my circle, since I was a young adult, knew I had money and knew I was generous. Providing.
I relate to this. I remember being 16 years old and telling my friends, rather than buy you, I've always been like this, Jesus Christ. I told my friends when I was 16 years old, it was Yolanda, Tawana, rest in peace, she's passed away, and our friend Veronica. It was 2 Black girls and 2 Latina girls, because back then, even though I was half Cuban, if you were a Black child, they were not calling you Latin, even though you were. And so we're all at this thing. I think we were at like Chili's, and I said to them, I said, so Christmas is coming up, and I realized that every time I want to buy you guys a gift, it's so expensive. I don't have money for the other people. So I'm going to do a new thing where every year I'm going to pick one friend to trick on. So rather than giving you all cheap gifts every Christmas, I'm going to pick one of you every year to trick on. And I remember I spent, mind you, this is like I was a kid. This is like in the late 90s. So I was a child. And I remember spending like $400, do the conversion, on one of my friends that Christmas. Tricked on her like crazy. She got me a card. And I recognized the card because I used to go to CVS every day, and it was one of the ones from the sale rack. She got me a card. So this thing of, imagine, she knew I was doing it because I told my friends. I'm very vocal, right? Because a lot of autistic people overly communicate. So I'm saying that to say, I know what it's like to be the person who's been generous their entire life, and the pain that comes when you realize that not everybody loves so abundantly in that way. And you recognize the issue isn't the abundance of your love, it's the lack of boundaries, right? So I still trick on my friends and family. I just do it with a lot more boundaries. Like, hey, these are the parameters. So I've learned since then, but her being someone who's been tricking since she was young actually completely tracks.
For people without requiring much or expecting anything in return became my norm at a young age. So not just the men I dated. No, I didn't start breaking boyfriends off until like my late 20s. But it was my loved ones, friends, peers wanting to be business partners, loved ones in between jobs, ambitious women with big dreams. I'm 10 toes down and all in for those I considered in my circle. I took pride in being generous. I took pride in being reliable. And not many people have someone they can call and ask for thousands of dollars in an urgency. And what I didn't realize was that over time, I kept up my hustle to maintain the safety net for others. The truth is, my marriage was probably the straw that broke my back and my pockets. When I reduced my income to take us a
My marriage was the straw that broke my back and my income. Oh man, I'm so happy God said, let's just break her spirit a little bit and give her a year to recover. I'm happy God didn't decide to make me broke to teach me a lesson, because I don't really need that lesson.
sabbatical, that time allowed me to realize I wasn't just carrying my household. I had been carrying everybody that, when the time came, couldn't carry me. I was averaging $50,000 a month and spending it just as fast, sponsoring events, funding business grants, supporting organizations, and carrying household expenses I never truly wanted. But I believe if I poured enough into people, relationships, businesses, and opportunities, we'd all win together. And sometimes we did, and sometimes we didn't. So when I make $50,000 a month again, and I will, things will look different. My boundaries are going to be stronger. My peace is going to be protected. My generosity will be intentional. Access to me will be limited. My resources are staying in my new circle.
Oh, so she sounds like me. So her goal is to be how I am now. That whole list that she said is what I currently do. I was like, oh, I like that you had that list. My circle is tight. My resources are heavily guarded. My financial, I have a whole team of people who stop me before I spend money that I can't afford. Everybody that I work with, even if they're friends or family, has clear guidelines about what they can and can't expect to me. The minute anything changes, I make sure it trickles all the way down to everybody who works with me, so nobody's getting any nasty surprises. Those boundaries that she's talking about are the difference between prospering and having to post something like this. But I mean, at least she got 2 beautiful kids out of it.
Oh, gang, I'm not rebuilding my finances so I can carry anybody over the age of 21 again.
I genuinely want to know why Black men make dating so difficult. They make it.
Hi, I have an answer, and it's simply because they don't have money.
Oh. Whoa. We kind of slipped right. No KY. We only have 14 minutes left. So somebody said, Blue, reach out to her. Yeah, I might actually reach out to her. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check in with myself when I'm not on camera to see if I have the capacity, because I don't half invest. But if I do have the capacity and she is open to it, I'd be down to reach out to her, because she's trying to get where I currently am, but she also has like children to think about. And I want to, honestly, not to be nosy, I want to see what happened with the man. So how did you put him out? Where is he still in the house? I'm just worried that part 7 of this is going to be her talking about he now has to live in the basement like Ralph from Real Housewives of Atlanta. My concern is he gone? If he's still in the picture, I actually don't want to reach out. Sydney, if you see this and your husband is still living with you, respectfully, you can tap me out. If he's no longer on the premises, we can talk, sis. I just want to put that out there.
So I've been thinking about this a lot as it relates to my personal dating life. A lot of my friends who are Black women who are in their late 20s, early 30s, who have been struggling with dating, who prefer to date Black men, and have been doing it in...
Somebody said we went from 6 parts of burying the lead to it's because he's broke. Whiplash. I am proud to say that it has been 2 years since I've dated a broke man. And now the only men I entertain are men who can take care of themselves. I don't need rich. Rich is cool, but that's not something I need from somebody else. I can take care of myself, and I want somebody who wants to take care of me too. I take care of them. But like the fact that I'm not dealing with men who are bitter about being broke, the absence of that has already improved my life. The absence of a man who hates himself for not being able to provide for himself and resents you for not being able to relate to that has already made my love life better. I now am dealing with men who can provide for themselves. Now I just have to deal with men who are too cowardly to want to do their part without me spoon feeding them and playing the role of their mother. Now I'm running into mommy issues. Before I was running into father wounds around providing. Now at least I'm in a new territory of, baby, I like you. I might even give you a blowjob, but I do not want to play the role of your mother, because your mother wouldn't give you a blowjob, weirdo. That's fucking bizarre. If you want to do weird sex stuff with me, you cannot in the next breath want me to be your mother. That is bizarre and inappropriate. So new problems, at least, right? At least we have new dating problems. But I did see this video hit my algorithm right after I saw Sydney's 6-part series. And I thought, oh, the algorithm is responding. The reason why Sydney went through this is because the nigga was broke. And he pulled a bait and switch where he probably had an inexpensive apartment, had her stay with him for 6 months, paying regular rent, knowing that she was up and was big money, and that when it was her turn to give, he could always throw it in her face. But I had your back when we first met. I've had that okie doke, by the way. I've had somebody give me a little bit that I didn't ask for in the beginning and then try to ride off of the laurels of that for the rest of our relationship. That's an old bait and switch trick.
Comparison to my white peers and some peers outside of like other races, but specifically my white peers, as to why we all went to similar schools. We all have similar educational backgrounds. We all work similar jobs. For bar, we would say we would live very similar lives, except I just oscillate in primarily Black spaces and they oscillate in primarily white spaces. With that said, I think it's because white people, but specifically white also men, are raised in the way that they have generational wealth, but a generational wealth mindset, meaning that they saw their parents get paired off and married, within their 20s. They have grandmas.
And even regular working class white people, because of the way the system of oppression has been maneuvered in this country and several other capitalist nations, it's not just America, we were ripped apart. Our families, our Black families and brown families were ripped apart. Black more than brown, because brown families were victimized in different ways. And because our families were systemically and intentionally ripped apart, while the nuclear white American families were maintained, what happened is, if you saw a Black man in the home, he was less likely to marry the mother because of financial or whatever kind of shit that was going on, but he was more present with the children. Whereas if you saw a white man in the family, he was more likely to be married to his wife, but less likely to be present in the home and more likely to be cheating, and because he could afford to, right? A lot of people say that a man is only as loyal as his options, and I say that's a man that's full of shit. But when you look at the statistics, Black fathers are actually just as present, if not more present than white fathers. They're just less likely to get married. And so the myth of Black men not being around to raise their children was based on marriage certificates, not on actual presence in the household. And so because Black people had to figure out non-nuclear, non-traditional ways to keep their families intact, there are tons of people who grew up knowing their father, despite what we hear, who just didn't have him be the mother's husband. So different dysfunctions, but one is applauded and the other one is looked down upon. I just wanted to point that out. But to her point, the optics of, well, at least my daddy's in the house, even though he's cheating on my mama and I barely see him, was a lot of white people grow up almost expecting or being heavily pushed to get partnered. Even when white women go to college, they're told, go to a good school so you can find a good husband at college. While Black women are told, go to a good school so you can make good money and take care of the family, because Ray Ray and them got locked up or, have PTSD or some kind of unchecked trauma from being a Black in a capitalist world that we don't have the language for. So when Black women go to college, we're going to college to save our families. When white women go to college, historically speaking, they're going to college to start families. You see the difference, right? And so to her point, that is why a lot of the financial disparities happen between Black women and Black men. And it's unfortunate. It's also systemic. It's not a cultural identity. It's not something, well, why do Black people, it's not something we did to ourselves. It is a cultural norm that was created by the systemic oppression that we keep buckling under. And I think a lot of the times when y'all say, well, how come in the Black community, what you really mean is, how come white supremacy? The next time you want to say, how come in the Black community, say, how come white supremacy? You're pointing in the wrong direction. Yes, the Mrs. degree. They always used to joke that the white girls were going to college to get a Mrs. degree. I'm going there to be a Mrs. and find me a husband. Meanwhile, Tisha and them are going there to have a conglomerate and make $50K a month along with Sydney. Just to have a man with a weird filter being a bad bitch, not even taking care of the kids. Let me stop. But let's let her cook.
Ring and heirlooms. They have a house that they know that they will inherit. They have a mindset knowing that even if they lose their job at Goldman Sachs or in tech or whatever, that they have this sort of privilege that they know that they'll always be fine and they know that they'll always be able to take care of their family. So even though they're in build mode, they're not necessarily worried that they would lose everything. And I think that mindset is different for Black men, meaning that they spend a lot of their 20s and even in their early 30s really trying to play a game of like financial catch up, really trying to get themselves established. And because they're playing that game, they play games in other areas, meaning that they don't necessarily take things seriously in terms of getting married, having kids, buying a home, starting family, because those things require money.
The amount of men who have said, I'm not trying to get serious right now because I'm trying to get rich first. My guy, most rich men that you see that are successful and have longevity have a partner. Y'all trying to build something that you haven't even read the instructions for. There have been studies quantifying that men, this is not gender neutral, men statistically live longer and make more money when they are married and partnered. Statistically. So you saying, I don't want to get married until I'm rich, baby, in a lot of ways, getting married is what helps you get rich. What are you talking about? Like, what are you saying right now?
If you don't have it, they're not necessarily going to, I guess, just take those things seriously. And again, I was just really thinking as to like why I'm in my late 20s. A lot of my friends are in their late 20s to early 30s, and we're still like dating and on dating apps and dealing with games and all the shenanigans that come with dating Black men. But then when I look at the Jennys, the Tiffany's and the whatevers of the world, a lot of them who I have worked with or work with, why they all, ironically enough, got engaged all at 27, 28, around the same time. And it's felt kind of like sorority-like, very systematic. And again, it's that peer influence around them. If they see all their friends doing the things, and this goes for men too, they're going to go do those things as well. If they saw their parents do it, they're going to go do it as well. And I don't think Black men saw it from their fathers, and they also didn't necessarily and don't necessarily see it from their peers around them, so they don't also feel kind of that social influence to do those things, especially for Black men in major cities like a New York, LA, a Chicago, a Miami, maybe even Houston. Maybe in the South it might be a bit different. But yeah, there's more I can say on this, and I've been doing a lot of research. I'm actually going to write an article about it, just the differences and nuances between being a Black woman dating versus like my white contemporaries and their dating experiences. But yeah, the one factor that it boils down to is money, and if you don't have it, you're not able to progress forward in dating.
We're gonna stop there. We had one more hot topic, but I'm so late now, I can't go any further. Somebody said Black daughters are the ones building generational wealth. I don't think about dating until after uni and I was lost. Other communities had a system and their mothers and grandmothers told them. Yeah, I do agree that this is what happens when the system tries to break you apart, has you dispersing and fleeing to figure out how to survive. And once you start surviving, now you realize, oh shit, though, where's my community? It's tricky. This was a surprising random live. I hope you guys like these quickies that I'm doing. In the Bluecentric world, the quickie is anything under 2 hours because we usually go for about 3.5 hours on average, right? 3.5 to 6 hours. So thank you for coming to another quickie. I'm doing this today because I know that tomorrow I'm doing a something with Carlos. I think Thursday I'm doing something with Bridget. Friday I have a shit ton of work. No, Friday we're actually doing Juneteenth. You guys, Friday's Juneteenth, so you guys won't see me again until Friday. Please go to freedom26@eventbrite.com. The tickets are only like $30, and we are going to be having a in-person live on Zoom for everybody who signs up. It's a virtual happy hour. This is the third of 3. We're not doing any more of these anytime soon, but we did one for St. Patty's Day. We did one for Cinco de Mayo. The last one is for Juneteenth, and we are going to have us a great time for everybody who's coming. Do not worry. The invites will be sent out. Not the invites. The link will be sent out either tomorrow or Thursday. I always wait until the last minute to send the link just to be safe with security. I love you guys so much. I hope the quickies were fun for you. Oh, you guys do like the quickies. Okay. And to my client, I will be calling you in 2 minutes. Thank you for your patience. I adore y'all. Bye, family. This was so random, but interesting. Okay. Oh, for the replay gang, say, may I find partnership, not attachment. That is the prayer for the replay gang. May I find true love and partnership, not just attachment. One more time. May I find true love and partnership, not just attachment. Because my God, today, Sydney, I might be hitting you up. Keep your eyes open. Okay, bye, family, for real this time.